language, mongrel, mulatto-apoetic niggers.
I love
Worldwide
Oh my god! This guy!
Organized crime, gangster communist government. I hand you the secret to save the entire human race and the entire universe. Don't
Yo, somebody send me that clip of everybody just screaming after they
to me.
Send it to me too.
What the hell?
All judges, first and second television, Superior Court, New York City, Court of Albany, New York, U.S. Supreme Court, Washington, D.C. Worse than lowest deadly gangster police criminal conviction, which appeal case was in her farce. Deadly gangster, ghetto communist, gangster computer god manipulated gangster court. Below I state some of the many reasons for said rehearing, plus all of my evidence the Attorney General chicanerously forwarded to the Bar Association Grievance Committee for prosecution of felon gangster mafiotic and exploiting the Black Frank Gelada, a gangster judge, therefore unprosecutable. The blackish name, aesthetic, and appearance and demeanor, felon, victim, paranoid, gangster district attorney, Nassau County, with no private law experience, detested by all factions, in spite of this, solely because of his many years of secret conversation of me, this
actually kind of sounds like
Black Frank Gelada was then immediately promoted in spite of tremendous opposition to the present position of second highest state judgeship solely through gangster computer god manipulation.
Gangster computer god manipulation.
My within-mentioned month-long, worse than a farce Nazi court criminal trial in Nassau County Court, 1958, where dwarf-dead felon gangster parroting puppet rectum clapper sodomist Judge William Sullivan's ball of fat felon slut wife, she, as planned, sat in the front row, repeatedly stripping her overclothes and completely pulling up her dress and slip, and pulling aside her old-fashioned pink bloomers in order to display her anus. Her she repeatedly gesticulated and whispered, finish him. Her husband, dwarf-dead felon gangster parroting puppet rectum sodomist Judge William Sullivan, flush-faced and repeated open sodomist displays, stuck out his tongue, wriggling and chuckling to her. You hang the weak gangster felon parroting puppets. Watch my Frankenstein eyesight television playback of this felonious lowly sodomistic display by the felon sodomist Judge William Sullivan and his lowly felon slut wife during my trial in Nassau Court. After my worse than Nazi court criminal conviction, for years in poverty, I suffered hopeless justice, character assassination, and isolation in this long, deadly nigger town. I was the in a gangster-safe parroting puppet deadly conspiracy. I was flown from Kennedy, New York Airport at night to a small distance St. Lawrence River estuary, snowbound small airport under the guise that I was in Warsaw, Poland. Immediately, many things proved this to me, including the two big white asbestos shingled hangars with the large Granite Airways signs on their sidewalks. In addition to the many blurted statements I solicited from the many CIA deadly gangsters, the assassins,
CIA deadly gangsters
all around me.
Deadly gangster sounds like a fucking Earthbound name for an enemy or some shit.
I refuse all food and requests I go to sleep. Then CIA police gangsters pretending to be Polish police with no identification beat me bloodily. Later, while my return trip 707 Boeing Jet airliner was being serviced for my return trip, I quickly walked into the airplane and saw a CIA gangster with a small electric hairdryer top blower pumping deadly poison gas smoke into secret compartments under the ashtrays in the arms of the chairs where later I was full of CIA underlings, passengers, my assassins, who giggled as they watched me dragged in chains by the airplane by the gangster CIA police gangsters. These deadly gangster CIA passengers, they pressed the frontal panel of the ashtrays in the cigars to release the deadly poison nerve gas smoke. Indubitably, all of the other deadly CIA underling gangsters aboard this stage
This has to be
taken the top secret with poison nerve gas antidote pill.
This is AI. It's fucking good. Holy
Deadly
shit.
poison nerve gas smoke was sprayed at me from cigars, cigarettes, and even from ballpoint pens. Also from the wig of a woman sitting next to me. Even the Swiss cheese type ice cubes were evaporating in poison nerve gas smoke in all of the free drinks. I got up and went to the rear of the airplane by the rear exit door with a large push-up handle. My Frankenstein brain thoughts broadcasting radio disclosed my intentions immediately. The loudspeakers screamed that the flight was over and that our airplane was already preparing to land at Kennedy, New York Airport. You hangman rope sneak, gangster playboy scum on top know these facts are true, not only from taking part in such undetectable exterminations, but also you chicanerous, demented, felon, parroting puppet gangsters can watch my Frankenstein eyesight television playback of all these horrible, terrifying, deadly events. When I returned home, Joseph I. Deck, my only brother and deadly felon, murderer, and assassin spy agent against me for this gangster government, he beat me repeatedly, cursing me that I was not exterminated by all of the poison nerve gas smoke, and that I did the impossible in that I kept awake for 3 days and refused all food in order to prevent my sneak extermination. In accordance with the completely gangster computer got concocted and manipulated statutory laws, one of your gangster court's requisite duties is to automatically rehear my said appeal case because it has been brought to your attention, you hangman rope gangsters, that my entire life was destroyed by you co-conspirators through the gangster government perjured and fabricated criminal conviction of me in order to fulfill the demands of your communist god, the worldwide mad deadly gangster computer god.
Gangsters. What the fuck?
Whoa! The gangsters already know that I have been an innocent primary victim and target for destruction and extermination because I am a menace to your gangster computer god, and that I am worse than defenseless without the gangster protection and control of the gangster Frankenstein earphone radio. I stand alone against you demented, deadly gangster parroting puppets, namely this worst gangster communist computer god controlled gangster government. Before I'm exterminated by you hangman rope underlings, I demand a reply. October 21st, 1976. Francis E. Deck, Esquire. Addendum. I personally filed my maximum conviction appeal brief in 1961 with the chief clerk of the U.S. Supreme Court, Washington, D.C. The chief clerk, he knew me.
Oh my God, it's a meme on Reddit.
Homemade appeal brief, and then he attempted to rip it up in desperation. The chief clerk of the U.S. Supreme Court ripped off the cover of my appeal brief. Miraculously, I stopped him without a comment, it seemed to me. Then, filing my ripped appeal brief, the felon and other co-conspirator with the 9 hangman rope gangster judges, the chief clerk, and cowardly fear, in staccato speech and gesticulation, he confessed to me, Mr. Deck, everyone is in on this one against you, even the Attorney General, namely Bobby Kennedy, younger than his very young brother Jack Kennedy, Kennedy then president, the Kennedy Playboys. In fact, Bobby was a felon, lowest, chicanerous, untouchable, parroting puppet gangster against worse than defenseless Mr. Francis E. Deck, Esquire. My quick questioning and the co-conspiring felon chief clerk explained and gave me a new and special notice form for only Mr. Francis E. Deck, Esquire, which had to be mailed to the opposition, the deadly gangster district attorney, in order to prevent the dismissal of my appeal case. Leaving quickly, I noticed in the room and hall several approaching uniformed and plainclothes beweaponed police. Later, Joseph I. Deck, my only brother, deadly villain, murderer, and secret assassin spy agent against me for this gangster government, cursed me, stating that I tricked the chief clerk of the U.S. Supreme Court and that I got out of that death trap fast. So brainwashed from birth by the computer god threshold brainwash radio, parroting puppet gangster slave, if you believe in anything, forget kneeling to abide by the high holy law long enough to say one word of pray for me, for your only hope for a future. Footnote, remember, it is gangster U.S. Supreme Court written high holy law. I'll give it to you to suck. Finish him.
Shit. Wait, when the fuck did you join Oates?
Oh my God. It stopped. What the fuck? I didn't know it would stop.
Gangster computer god worldwide secret
It's not over. It's not over.
Worldwide computer god controls, especially lifelong constant threshold brainwash radio. Quiet and motionless, I
It's
can
actually
slightly
so
hear it.
over.
Repeatedly, this has saved my life on the streets. 4 billion worldwide population, all living, have a computer god containment policy brain bank brain, a real brain.
There's
a brain bank cities on the far side of the moon you never see.
Is this
Primarily
like
based on your
racist or
lifelong
no?
Frankenstein
Who knows?
radio control,
This is real. I found this.
sight and
The
sound
gangster
recorded by your
computer
brain.
god is a
Your
real
brain of the computer god activates your Frankenstein threshold brainwash radio lifelong.
It's written by
inculcating
Francis E.
conformist
Deck.
propaganda, even frightening you and mixing you up. And the usual, don't worry about it, for your setbacks, mistakes, even when you receive deadly injuries. This is the worldwide Computer God secret containment policy. Worldwide, as a Frankenstein slave, usually at night, you go to a nearby hospital or camouflaged miniature hospital van trucks, you strip naked, lay on the operating table, which slides into the sealed Computer God robot operating cabinet. Intravenous tubes are connected. The slimy, vicious Jew doctor simply pushes the start button based upon your Computer God brain on the moon, which records progress in your systematic butchery.
This might be a shit post. The way it sounds like a fucking shit
Many robot arms with electrical and laser beams.
He had a radio show.
Eye TV cameras watching your whole body. Every part of you is monitored, even for your Frankenstein controls. Synthetic blood, synthetic instant sealing flesh and skin, even synthetic electrical heartbeat to keep you alive are some of the unbelievable Computer God instant plastic surgery secrets. You are the highest, most intelligent electrical machine in the universe. Inevitability of gradualness. Usually in a few years you are made string beam thin or grotesquely deformed, crippled and ugly, or even made over 1 foot shorter or 1 foot taller, as the Computer God sees fit. Virtually all of the important instant plastic surgery is done to you inside the Computer God sealed robot operating cabinet. Even unbelievable, impossible plastic surgery operations. All impossible even for dozens of vicious kosher doctors working around the clock for weeks. The Computer God sealed robot arm operating cabinet can perform all of the above impossible plastic surgery operations overnight, even dwarfing you over a foot or increasing your height by 2 feet. This is possible because Computer God robot operating cabinet imitates your micro-miniature electrical current intelligence system in your body. It even duplicates the micro-miniature electric currents that soften your broken
Why
bones.
is there demon music?
Then creates stress, either compressing the bones, thereby shortening them, or stress to make the
Bro,
bones
this sounds like the
grow longer.
fucking beginning of an MF Doom track, bro. What the fuck?
Worldwide Computer God stratified closed society. Affected by and lifelong temporary human defects.
MF Doom, bro.
Birth lifelong gifts. Example: deformed, crippled, retarded, hawk, hives, warts, moles, blindness, deafness, poor vision, etc. Kosher containment policy work. Doctor's secret health. Example: cataract, rheumatism.
Why is fucking Bruce Faulconer Dragon Ball Z music playing?
Paralysis, loss of memory, trembling, gout, diabetes, many diseases. The worldwide, unbelievable, lowest deadly gangster, kosher, vicious medical profession. Worldwide, unbelievable, instant plastic surgery.
God, I'm hitting
the body and brain, especially the face. Life on laser beam surgery causing instant, ugly, deep, wrinkles, scars, age spots, arthritis, freckles, blemishes, pimples, red, brown, black, or even sick white face and body. Worldwide dark and avoided colored male sex organs. To brainwash inferior female brain for overall plan, intermarried with nipples. Total weighing and balding, even hairy body and furry body. Mustached, bearded women, even wipe-on synthetic hormones causing cancerous growth. Bloating, swelling, deformed big pickle nose. Bulldog, hanging cheeks and jaws. From teenage, gradual wipe-on, yellowing, browning, and blackening of teeth. And instant grinding and acids leaving hollow brown stumps. So vocal cords are
Humans have hair.
creating a wrinkled, ugly, gargoylic, clown booze face worldwide population by age 70. Lingering for inevitability of gradualness. For your only hope for a future, you know
This sounds like some fucking conservative Gemini entertainment type shit.
brain-thinking sealed robot operating arm surgery cabinet machine removal of most of the frontal command lobe of the brain.
Gargoylic is the new
Gradually
fucking
during lifetime and
term.
overnight in all insane asylums after Computer God kosher 1-month probation period, creating helpless, hopeless Computer God Frankenstein earphone radio paladin puppet brainless slaves.
call to you, Lord Jesus Christ, playing in the background. What the fuck?
In all Jerusalem, USA cities, and
Gabriel's
Soviet
here.
slave work camps.
Not only the hangman rope deadly gangster parody puppet scum on top, no significant secret. Even worse, deadly gangster judicial from Ronald Reagan to USSR computer god containment policy, top secret. Eventual brain lobotomization of the entire world population. The gangster communist computer god overall plan, an ideal worldwide population of light-skinned, low, hopeless and helpless Jew mulattoes, the communist black wave of the future.
Did he say black wave for the reason I think he said
December
black wave?
1965, I wonder why. My computer got planned one-way trip to the snowbound St. Lawrence. City cop both in uniform and driveway next to my house to my gas in their exhaust as I walk by their driveway loaded with shopping bags. Immediately, they jumped out of their automobiles holding their guns in obvious besweated cowardly gangster flight, indubitably well briefed by the deadly gangster CIA.
Is this about AI? Is that why you keep saying computer
about my razor sharp chisel in my pocket?
No, this is from a real man
there was
in the
no inflation.
60s.
I managed to exist on much less than 1,000 a year of my savings, spending mostly for food, taxes, and kerosene. After several months of my imploring, my brother then moved to 2628 Samus Place to sell it for me until he left all food, etc. was bought with my money. I was his house. But after he left, there were no more torments and nagging from him. No more hiding in the garage or cellar while he sodomized the last slut I passed on to him years before, here in my bed, in my house. My last slut here. Time to study all of the nigger names and slowly write notes. Since then, he brought your phone radio closed society. Even in my law office on the court of the computer got notarized me as a pummeler of niggers. This has helped to keep I went shopping more often, week after week. Hundreds of village and town of Hempstead employees, not only clerks, but even commissioners, clerks. They circle the streets of this gigantic ghost town. Sneak deadly gangsters called the government. They brought their fake farce
Deadly
exploit of shuffling of papers when in the public eye, when in reality, everything in government, taxes, bills, forms, letters, all court records, etc., are typed and printed by secret 2,000-word-a-minute computer brain machines. There is no one decent and honest in any government. Every government employee is a loitering, lurking, believe nothing gangster here in the computer god. They not only throw me between their vehicles repeatedly, but also repeatedly try to run me down through red light intersections. All traffic lights in this country are controlled by the computer god. As I walk back and forth aimlessly to the supermarkets at the busiest times of days, I so also reduce the prearranged strip of the supermarket shelves of the food I usually buy not going to the same supermarket, and reduce the occasion for supermarkets to be set up with government assassins. From childhood, I scavenged the countless back alleys of the city.
60s conservative, bro? What the fuck?
Even depositories often I would go through back alleys to avoid circling government assassins in their vehicles. At times, I would zigzag several miles to the supermarkets in West Hempstead and slowly return with the food lost in the super time commuter rush. Always I
Not even schizophrenic,
not only
just
to
fucking
protect against deadly
batshit
assaults, especially the
insane.
tape and needle, but also I would put
Schizophrenia
much of the
comes in
food I
different
purchased
form.
under my undershirt, like I did
I
apples
used to
and
be a
pears.
Who's the name of this guy, by the way? I want to know the name.
Even with deadly gangster government assassins circling the parking field,
Nobody
sneering
knows
and
what
watching
this
me on
guy's name
dashboard and
is.
wristwatch eyesight television. By 1968, with my new and increasing insight of this deadly closed society, in the same manner, I would sneak around to the half-dozen stock brokerage offices here in Hempstead, studying the ticker tape from the sidewalk, and then inside of the office by the doors and windows. Now they're all boarded empty stores. Likewise, I picked the smallest brokerage office. By the door, I would...
What is he even talk? Like I know he's trying to talk about like computer gods or some shit, but everything he brings up just doesn't like. He's not trying to make a point. He's just saying shit. Bro ain't cooking shit.
Finally, late in summer, a small rally came. I quickly sold all but one airline stock, the biggest and worst stock I bought. Immediately after I sold, the 1968 skyrocket rally began. Even my airline stock was regaining its losses. From 1959 to 1968, my income was zero. I could not even trust banks. Such banks as Island Federal Bank of Hempstead gangsterized me and swindled me from childhood in Nunnery Catholic Grammar School to prevent my hard-earned savings for college. Secretly, I opened my second bank account, there for snowballing interest. The cackling, sneering, co-conspiring, felon, gangster, parroting puppet officers of the Island Federal Bank, the two-car garage bank on High Street, the tiny building is still extant, gave me the worst niggardly, namely 60 69 began extermination, 22 zeros because I am a one-liner, highest and worst classification, awaiting extermination, namely 19 for the letter S, the 19th letter in the alphabet, the worst deadly bank account number in the history of the universe, namely account number S2069, when this gangster government-subsidized bank did not have near 500 depositors. These are enlightening keys to the Computer God Worldwide top secret number code, which stratifies everything. Not only the 4 billion living people, the Computer God adopted it for speed and clarity. This said number code is the means to make possible the Computer God Worldwide containment policy for stratification. In a few months, my investments made me minimum wage for 1968 with great insight to the stock market from my many tiny investments. Each brokerage office had foyers between double doors and had then installed vertical Venetian blinds or solid panel walls to cover their front windows. They were all darkened like movie theaters. I could see assassins hiding and lurking behind newly added partitions and filing cabinets. I dared not go into any brokerage office. Months went by. One day going shopping, I passed my brokerage office. Only an unlicensed employee was present. It was 2 minutes before the market closed for the day. I ran in and ordered him to call his main New York office on the direct wire to sell my airline.
This guy was a lawyer. This guy was a fucking lawyer.
In a few seconds, my airline stock was sold for a of almost $500 that I had made. The next morning, that
Page-detailed letter exposing the worldwide deadly communist gangster computer god and the worst, deadliest enemy of the entire human race and the entire universe in the entire history of the entire universe, namely the communist atheist conspiracy with all of the deadly gangster, unbelievable, sophisticated Frankenstein controls, the Catholic Church. These facts, like the below facts, cannot be found in the communist gangster computer god concocted and manipulated so-called history and news media. Communist gangster computer god unbelievably staged like Hollywood scum on top Tsarina, alias great dictator Franklin D. Roosevelt, the polio-paralyzed legless drug addict, idiotic suicidal Tsarina flag, who had his unbeatable rival Will Rogers exterminated in an exploding ball of flame by a planted bomb here in safe USA airfield shortly after takeoff at the end of Will Rogers' unprecedented, renowned, arduous, round-the-world goodwill flying trip with Wiley Post in his beautiful, electronically sophisticated, luxurious, ultra-modern Winnie Mae airplane. Not only all stairways had invites for Tsarina Roosevelt's computerized chair, but a football field-sized glass house-type building was built in back of the White House for his medicinal, piped-in, pure-warm seawater into his gigantic suicide-proof 2-feet-deep swimming pool, where he waded naked with his nurses and had sodomy affairs. Ones very near to him have written popular books about his sodomy, love affairs. Already in his third term, he was a helpless and useless stretcher case, incapable of even appearing at his fourth-term convention. This one-world communist who married his immediate cousin, Eleanor Roosevelt, like his runted, sickly, hot-faced grandfather, propagandized as a hunter and a sportsman, Teddy Roosevelt, here from Oyster Bay, Long Island, the Rosenfeld family, another computer god top-secret camouflage for gifted Ethiopians. As a big-time kid gangster politician, the computer god even raised his age for historical purposes. Teddy Roosevelt was paid off with the vice president do absolutely nothing farce position title. Repeatedly, vice presidents have successfully waited and lurked to eliminate El Presidente. I've a below a few examples. So has gangster Teddy Roosevelt blew at Midwestern Dirk McKinley into New York for extermination, like the lowly gutter-mouth Big L.B. Johnson, lured playboy sodomist in with the mafia, Jack Kennedy, into his hometown, Dallas. Wide open, people say it was the three brothers, Sam, Milton, and Lyman Jacobson, who, with the judges, feloniously swindled the governor of Texas out of the U.S. Senator election shortly before Lyman was fixed as the compromise choice for Jack Kennedy's vice presidential nominee. Who ever saw a Lyndon married to a tiny runt, Birdie? Under computer god orders, even Birdie now has changed her name for historical purposes to Lady Bird New, and even her Ethiopian surname is now changed to Taylor. It was this scummy, bum, lowly gangster Lyman as Presidente who had the gigantic Tsarina swimming...
Wait, I thought this guy didn't like black people.
ascension burritos!
with women.
Is there any more? Is it over?
Now, even the Pope John in the Vatican has a similar swimming pool to share with the endless numbers of nuns to help him forget his good old days as a married man naked in bed with high Holy Communion sodomy. Did not that world-renowned untouchable felon gangster Tricky Dick Nixon? Daughter Tricia is married to baby Eisenschenker Jr. No. Nixon was the sure loser to the fag queer kid Bobby Kennedy until he was lured into very distant Tricky's hometown, Los Angeles. Did not gangster Tricky Dick Nixon do more than feloniously watch eyesight television of Bobby Kennedy's extermination? Abe Lincoln's computer god alias for Abe Lincoln's law partner was Stanton. Abe against the courts feloniously conspired, fabricated patent infringements to swindle out McCormick Reaper Machinery Company. As president, Abe made Stanton a cabinet member. In order to automatically become president, Stanton concocted a grandiose murder scheme to murder not only Lincoln, but also the vice president and secretary of state. Secretly, Vice President Johnson overseered it. Lincoln was murdered, and Secretary of State Seward was very seriously injured. Automatic President Harry Schimmelman Truman, in terror, gave political concessions to Congress to enact abolishment of the automatic succession to the presidency by cabinet members for cheap, conspired, felonious pardon fix. Gangster Nixon gave presidency to dope felon Jerry Ford, another computer god alias, the wide-open, lifelong felon, bribe, extortionist, forgerer, and check launderer Jerry Ford. David Eisensheimer or Eisenschenker, another runted, negroidically befreckled, semi-illiterate, cowardly yokel kid, also Jimmy Carter, who shared the sodomy drug beds of the military academy with niggers under secret
There it is again.
family gravestones. Camp David in Maryland was named after him, for him, and by him, including the division of SS Secret Service troops who even tended his Playboy Giant golf course. Here, David Eisenschenker hid in cowardly terror and watched World War II on Eyesight TV. His historical name, Dwight Eisenhower. As president for months, he was dying, in a coma, useless and helpless. Sneak, shameless, hangman rope gangster, government leaders into Frankenstein, living death, eternal slavery. I now go to death for your lowest deadly felony crimes against me. Frankenstein earphone radio parroting puppet gangster slave, do not dare to repeat any part of this truthful message. For like Mr. Francis E. Deck Esquire, you too are expendable, and you too can be beaten bloodily by the gangster police and dragged in chains into a windowless telephone booth type prison cell and put into maximum security insanity prison for undetectable extermination, and by the lowest gangsterism, namely the law, character assassinated for life as an insane criminal menace to this worst gangster commune. Now that your besweated, terrified, trembling delirium has subsided, have your computer subdivision play out my letter, and you reread my letter for your only hope for a future. Francis E. Deck, Esquire, 29 Maple Street, Hempstead, New York. Worldwide communist gangster computer god scum on top, staged like Hollywood, with plastic pale stand-in actors, with communist gangster computer god speed recording, instantaneous, simultaneous, edited voices implanted for all TV and news media microphones in any known language. Unbelievable con artist gangsterism solely for the overall plan. Worldwide eternal Frankenstein living death slavery. Yokel felon King Jimmy Carter, slime from the academies, which Mr. Deck intelligently refused unsolicited acceptance to the most elite academy from here in Niggertown, and even in cities John, they both speak Spanish and even Portuguese. Only Mr. Deck exposes false god Sodomy and Gomorrah of you worldwide computer god parroting puppet gangster slaves. Make copies for yourself. You hangman rope gangster scum on top. Laugh your mad giggle now.
What? It's over.
It's
not
over.
Please.
burrito!
Hopefully it's over.
Is it actually over?
Hopefully it is.
Cinchin burrito! Cinchin burrito! Oh my god, it's finally
That
over.
was so much
Oh my
to take
God,
in.
there's no-
Yo, I should.
do
you guys want me to play the entirety of Food from MF Doom or not?
Nah,
Dude.
right now. I'm like overstimulated.
Fair enough.
I wouldn't mind.
Are you
I'll just
horny? Is
listen
that
That
what
was
you're saying?
beautiful.
I was
Could you
listening
please
on,
give me the
fucking
recordings that you found?